What is going on, EDL community? It's your boy Exostomp back again, and today we're going to be doing obviously the post power rankings for the Drilbur division. And joining me this time, as well as last time, is
Not me.
Burger.
Nah, not me, not me.
Okay, not Burger, not Burger. So, as you guys can see, for 16th place, and there's not a lot of ties here, which is a little weird, but yeah, there's not a lot of ties in the Dribble division. We have the Tallow triple threat, so we both put them pretty low, and I think the main reason is there's not a lot of synergies with these Pokemon. None of them really, I mean, besides the Indeedee, Psychic Terrain, and Drifblim, which isn't that strong to begin with. There's not a lot of synergies, I feel. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I feel like when you put like mons like Indeedee and Hattering together, like on paper it feels good because they can expanding force spam, but like they feel really like they just feel so similar that they're just gonna do the same thing, and you don't want to bring both of them each time because they're just doing the exact same thing. And yeah, as you said, there's just not a lot of synergy. Like first impression, Durant and Psychic Terrain is
Yeah.
like not smart. Like, and then just the whole team, it's like very ground weak in general. Like the only switch-ins are like Eldegoss and Drifblim, and like Eldegoss can't touch shit, and Drifblim like doesn't take any rock moves, so it's very ground weak in general. It's just like it's got like a trick room mode with a psychic terrain mode. It's just not good. You can't be building so many gimmicks in these types of things, and Arctivish is completely useless on this team. Like it's not even that good about bulky water.
Yeah, I don't know
Like
why that's here.
like gimmicks are okay, but like when you want to build a gimmick, you want to have like a small gimmick that doesn't take up the majority of your team. This team's got too many gimmicks going for it. It just doesn't seem like a team that will work on paper. Only rocker is Sandaconda, which isn't the best because Sandaconda's not terrible, but you want to at least have one more rocker besides that.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a good team.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, you guys know, like I said last time, it's not very colorful, okay? It's very bland. But like all jokes aside, Eldegoss is not a Pokemon. I feel like you could get a much better grass type for like even cheaper. And like you said, Indeedee Durant first impression is like why do you have that? Um and what was, I think they picked Salazzle first, which isn't a bit, or was it Hatterene? Was- Um,
Let me check. They picked Hattering. They were wheel Hattering Salazzle.
okay, so oh yeah, because the 16th pick. Yeah, so with your 16th pick, you definitely could have gotten a lot more synergies here because, like, obviously you have two picks in one basically. So you could have been, you had a really good pick position. So I don't know what happened. I can see your ideas with like Indeedee Hatterene, like you said as well, but other than that, this nothing really does much. Like you got a bunch of um you got a bunch of, I guess, hazard removal with like Morpeko and Eldegoss and even Drifloon, but none of them really want to run Defog or Rapid Spin that much because you want
Yeah,
to
and you
be
don't want to bring
clicking.
Eldegoss.
Yeah, you don't want to be bringing Eldegoss in general. So yeah, I think this team could be very well improved, and
It's also very weak on the special defensive side, like Sandaconda, Durant, Beware, Eldegoss. Like a lot of them cannot take. Like you're relying on Hattering, and Hattering, like it's got decent special defense, but you don't want to rely on it as your special check. That's just like not smart because it doesn't have the most reliable recovery.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not a lot of bulky Pokemon in general. If a Specs or a banded Pokemon come in
Yeah,
here,
just look at like a PZ versus this team. Like Tri Attack plus Dark Pulse. Like
yeah,
nothing takes it.
yeah, nothing at all takes it. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, there's a few things that are wrong with it. Definitely look at your more quote unquote bulkier mons, like stuff like Eldegoss. You could definitely get rid of that for something better. And look at your synergies. Maybe look for other mons that aren't drafted, and like Arctivish and Eldegoss you could drop for some other
Yeah,
better
you
things.
could get some more value out of that.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next team, we have the 15th ranked, which I put them last. You put them 12th. Now, I'm actually curious. Why did you put them 12th?
I just remember not like thinking this team was as bad as some of the other teams. Like, I felt like Rabombi plus Poltegeist was a pretty nice core. It can break down the dark types. It can break down a lot of things that Poltegeist struggles with. I would have liked to see a fighting type on the team. That was one of the big things I was thinking. Like Poltegeist is good, but like fighting types really complement it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like Spectre in a way, where you want a nice fighting type. You got a decent like. I think Rabombi's pretty solid in low tier. Not as many good switch-ins to Rabombi. Like it's pretty bad in standard.
Hmm.
But I like the defensive core between Serena, Gastrodon. I like Incineroar a decent amount. All I was gonna say is like. Round 5 Ditto was a terrible pick, along with getting Kling Klang. I also think Espeon. I like Espeon a lot in low tier as well. I don't know. I feel like I don't like the team, but I think it's got strong points to it. My only other thing was like it seems definitely a bit more heavily favored to the special side, especially in terms of offense. Like Serena and Incineroar can be offensive,
Right.
but other than that, like the main like Rabombi, Espeon, Poltegeist are all very specially offensive. So I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I don't like the team personally, but I thought it was better than some of the other teams.
Okay, that's definitely fair. Your points.
I just realized they don't have a stealth rocker. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna actually bring that up. Yeah, there's no rocker here, which is like rocks is the
Bad.
best move in the game. So if you don't have one, people don't need to run heavy duty boots, which is not good for you. But also, like you did say, Poltergeist loves to have a fighting type, and there's so many good fighting types in low tier. It's so easy to just grab one. And stuff like Clink Clang, obviously Bidoof, Kingdra even, or they're all kind of either gimmicky or there's better water or a better typing for that slot. Where like you're paying a lot for Kingdra, but you have no real use for it. Like, what did you grab it for? Like a ground, a dragon type, but you have Gastrodon for water, so you don't really need a dragon, right? So a lot of these Pokemon, I do agree, like stuff like Rabombi, Espeon, Poltegeist, Serena, Incineroar, those are all really good Pokemon, but other than that, a lot of these Pokemon are just kind of filler, and I don't think they do much.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that point. I'm also now looking at like this team gets destroyed by flying types, like Clink Clang, Clink Clang.
Yeah.
Like what? This team's gonna get rolled by the Aerodactyl team. It's gonna get rolled by like a fucking what else is gonna roll? By? It's gonna get rolled by a Talonflame. Like any of like the like a Swellow. Like Swellow, for instance, just clicks Boom Burst and like it just wins. Is like there's just nothing that can come in and take a hit from it. Like overall, I think like if they can get the webs up and they can get the Poltegeist in a good position, it's gonna be good. Maybe get some screens up with Espeon, maybe break in general. And they have good pivots to get in things like Serena and Incineroar. But yeah, you definitely need to get a stealth rocker on this team. You do not want like these flying types that I'm saying. They don't have to run boots. Like Swallow's so free to run specs. Aerodactyl can run like choice band against you, and like what are you gonna do? Like there's no way to capitalize like on your offensive mons because you're gonna get out offensed if that's a good way to say it. Also, please people stop taking round 1 Incineroar. There's better things on the board. You guys let Heracross and Blaziken go to round 2.
Yeah, that was
And
kind
Didi go to round 3. And Meloetta go to round 6. Like, come on, guys. Let's draft better. I'm joking.
Draft better. No, honestly, like you said it perfectly. Because Talonflame 6-0s this team. What do you do to Talonflame? You don't do anything. You die.
Yeah, like once Gastrodon is at like a little bit chipped, like Talonflame just clicks Brave Bird. Like if it's Sword Stance, if it's like you can run Bandit Talonflame if you want to versus team. You don't need boots.
Yeah, that's the huge thing. Because like if you're weak to flying type, you need to have
especially
a
if
bunch
you're
of
weak to
rockers.
flying, you need some rockers.
Yeah, so definitely fix that up. Take our points and definitely use your free agencies. There's 5 this season, not 3, so it definitely helps you guys out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving
Definitely
on
great.
to rank 13th/14th. I think this is our only tie. The first one we're gonna go over is the Pancham Saint Germain. Germain. I'm gonna say this wrong every time, but you can make fun of me in the comments. So I put them 10th. You put them 10th as well. So we kind of have the same points here.
You can start off on them.
Sure. So number 1, I kind of really like the speed tiers. 115 to 108 to 95, like all of them down below. I think it works really well. None of them have the same exact speed tier, so it's always pretty good. And man, I don't know exactly what to say besides the only thing that I could say would be like there's nothing that stands out tremendously that I could say that this team is weak to. A lot of these Pokemon are defensive, but also have a lot of offensive pressure. Stuff like Virizion, Uxie, Blastoise, even though it doesn't have Shell Smash, can be a threat. And a lot of these Pokemon don't really have many switches. Stuff like Chandelure doesn't really have a switch in. So it's really fun to see a team like this. And hey, it's colorful, like I said, so you know I like colorful ones.
Yeah, I think the thing to note about this team is like it's got the Chandelure Virizion core is actually pretty nice. I like that core a lot. Virizion can be a knockoff bait for Chandelure. I get the justified pop. But the issue, I don't like the Trick Room idea that this team's has a Trick Room idea. It's trying to go for it the Runerigus plus like the Chandelure plus the shit. And it's got a random ass Sandslash Alola. Like that's not a good Pokemon unless it's on Hail, and it's still not even that good on Hail. It's just like Uxie is really good. Like there's a lot of good mons. It's pretty Ghost Weak. Like it's actually really Ghost Weak in general. Like the only switch into Ghost is Sneasel, and Sneasel is not actually a switch into Ghost. Otherwise, like something like Shadow Ball kind of goes through this entire team. What was the other thing I was gonna say about this team? The speed tiers are nice. They're not the best, but they are nice. They're not terrible. What you could ask for in speed tiers, and yeah, I think it's a decent team. This team is decent. I don't know.
Okay.
It's one of those teams. It's kind of hard to like really have an opinion on because it's not a bad team, but at the same point, there's not like anything like you're really out like crazy scary prep for besides like the Chandelure and potentially Virizion.
Yeah. One thing that I would like to say is you said that they're weak to Ghost, which is 100% true. You could grab a pretty decent normal type, maybe dropping Gabite for, let's see, what is that, 4 points? I mean, this stuff like Vigoroth isn't bad. Stuff like Sawsbuck's in here, I guess. I don't know. There's a few normal types, 4 points and below, that you could definitely use it for because there's a lot of well, not a lot of ghost types, but there's a decent amount of ghost types in here that have Poltergeist. A lot of these have Poltergeist actually down here in low tier. Dhelmise, Decidueye, Golurk, Alola Marowak, just to name a few. And you don't have a lot of switch-ins because it's Sneasel, and if you're not running a Violet Sneasel, or you're not running Sneasel at all that game, you just kind of lose to them. So, yeah, definitely look for a decent normal type and swap something out maybe.
Yeah, I can agree. Like, it definitely is a normal type. I don't know. It's just like a lot of these teams, they could have just benefited from picking other things than they picked. Like, because there's so many good things on the board. Like Chandelure Heracross sounds fucking insane. Like, nothing's gonna switch into those two, but unfortunately, it was passed up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Chandelure, I don't know how. Oh, Chandelure Heracross sounds awesome.
Yeah, you just break the dark types with Heracross, like, and Chandelure can like, I don't know. It's like a lot of these teams passed up a lot of things that you really like wanted to grab to pair. In terms like, it's definitely not a bad team. I don't agree with. I think Runerigus was a bad pick on this team. You already have a Ghost type. You could have gotten like a lot different ground types. Like, if I look at the board real quick, let me see if there's any ground types that were like even still up at this point that were better than Runerigus. We've got maybe there's not any ground types left. They took it round 4 is what I'm trying to say. Like they took Runerigus really early, and when there was things like I'm sure Mudsdale was still up at that point, Steelix was up. Like
Oh yeah,
there's just a
Steelix
lot.
would have been good.
Yeah, Seismitoad was Seismitoad wasn't up. Like, but you could have taken it earlier. I'm saying like there's a lot of ground types that you could definitely have taken over Runerius, which just doubles up on your Ghost weakness. Overall, I don't know. It's definitely not a terrible team, but like there's just not a lot going for it. It does have Gabite as well.
Yeah.
Gabite comes to like 1 or 2 games just to get rocks up, and that's it.
Yeah, I think honestly switching that out for maybe a normal type would be good, or Sandslash for a normal type, or I don't know. I feel like some of these Pokemon just aren't coming to many, if any, games. So like at least Gabite and Sandslash shouldn't probably come to some of these. But all right, let's move on to the other 13th/14th, which was the Gingerbread Gengar, Lucas 2's team. So I put them 5th, you put them 14th. So this is kind of interesting. Um, hey, I could say it here again. Yo, the colors on this team look great. Okay, I really like the colors. You know, you got the pinks, you got the oranges, you got the purples. You know, it's pretty nice.
Hmm.
But um, the speed tiers, I really like the speed tiers. Again, I think having something even just above 110 speed is always nice. So having Noivern is super great, and you do have a lot of what was it? I think it was like defoggers. Defoggers are pretty good here with Rotom, Mantine, and Noivern. They're pretty decent. Also, I really liked the combination of Noivern, Bronzong, and Hariyama. I think all of them kind of work together. Bronzong being weak to fire, Noivern being weak to obviously ice, and then Hariyama having that thick fat can really help out both sides. So offensively and defensively can be worked on pretty well. The only thing that I had a problem with on this team was, I believe it was, what was it? I think it was. Shoot, I can't remember. Do you want to say your point while I think?
Round 3 Houndoom.
Oh yeah.
What? Houndoom? What do you want a Houndoom for? Please explain. Ping me in chat what merits your round 3 Houndoom unless you really fucking like Houndoom as a Pokemon. I don't care if you like it. If you think it's good, you're wrong. It's not that good. It's not like awful, but it's not round 3. It's like round like 15, whenever you fucking want to. I don't know. This team's like, I don't know why. I just didn't like. It was one of those teams that I just didn't like in terms of like what they drafted. Like, Licky Tongue's pretty bad, so it was pretty Ghost Weak. Like not a lot of good things that can just switch into Ghost. I just felt like the walls are just like very abusable in general. Like Bronzong's pretty abusable. Rhydon is Rhydon's decent. I kind of like Rhydon. Rotom is like Rotomo's not really a wall. It's more just a pivot. Mantine's very easily abusable, and I don't know. It's just like it's very. I don't know why I don't like this team. It's another one of those teams that I don't know why I don't like, but it's just a team that's just not good in my. It's just not good in my opinion. It's very like it just feels really redundant in certain things. Like I feel like Rhydon and Bronzong are kind of redundant. I feel like Noivern and Mantine are kind of redundant at the same point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Hariyama's gonna have to carry like all the offensive pressure for this team because nothing else is that strong. Like Hariyama's good. I like Hariyama a lot, but it's definitely gonna be pressured into taking a lot of dark hits for the team. It's very pressured in general. To be that like big break. Excuse me, breaker.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that can click knockoff. It's like the only thing that can like really pressure down like steel types for an instance.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else just doesn't really want to take on a steel type besides like Houndoom, but it's a Houndoom. I don't know. It's just kind of like this. Like I feel like they should have gone like Rapidash Galar's not that good in my opinion. They should have gone like I don't know, something over Kingler, 6-point Kingler and 5-point Licky Tongue. Should have gone another breaker instead of those two Mons. And yeah, that's all I really gotta say about this.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think your point with Hariyama basically doing a ton for this team is 100% true because, yeah, Kingler kind of feels like it's out of nowhere, or Mantine. Either one, you don't really need. I don't think they don't. They don't do anything.
I don't think you need Mantine. I think you could have gone a better bulky water instead of Mantine. Like maybe instead of Mantine, I think you took Mantine early. I'm not sure. Whenever you could have gone like Seismitoad or Swampert, something like that over it, which probably would have been better than Mantine. Like and just taking it earlier, because otherwise you would have had a pretty solid core. Like Swampert can definitely take down like steel types and shit. For Noivern, it can pivot out into like the Hariyama.
Mm-hmm.
It would have definitely been a bit more advantageous compared to what he has at the moment. It's like I don't know. It just also seems like one of those teams that like you just don't struggle too hard with in prep. Like a lot of these mons you just don't care. Like in general, all these mons you're gonna usually have a check to. None of these mons there's like, oh god, I don't have a check to this. This thing can completely screw me over. Like there's no real win con in my opinion. Like what is he trying to win with on this team?
Probably Noivern.
Yeah, but I don't think Noivern can really get through because there's not enough breakers to really support Noivern, which is what it needs. It's usually meant as an offensive pivot into breakers, but with only Hariyama being the breaker, and the thing being like the only switch into like dark types, it's just not going to be able to work, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think like yeah, that was my thing. I feel like it just needs like a better win con, like something that he can reliably use as like his late game cleaner because there's not a lot of setup.
Um, the point that I forgot that I wanted to bring up was there's only two pivot mons, being Rotomo and Noivern, which you kind of want more.
You want more, but those are good pivots. Like,
No,
they can usually
those
swap
are
out.
great pivots. Yeah. And then yeah, like you said, I think there should be more breakers on this team because a lot of these Pokemon are
Yeah, it needs a win con though. It needs some type of like because like in Mons like you need a win condition like whether that be a defensive win condition or an offensive win condition. Like Bronzong can somewhat be a defensive win condition. It's like the Iron Defense Body Press Rest Talk set, but like that set is niche in certain matchups because you have to get rid of ghost types and your ghost killer is a Houndoom. So problem one, and you only have one knockoff user, as I said, in Hariyama, and once again very pressured. So I don't know. That's why I was really against this team because I feel like it's not going to have a clear path in how to win.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one, which is the 12th place team, which is the Lake City Linoons. So you put them 6th. I'm actually curious why you put them 6th.
Yeah, it was one of those teams, like, I was kind of struggling with, like, my top 8 and shit, like, because I didn't like a lot of the teams. I actually didn't like any of the teams. I liked only, like, the top 3 teams. But it was a team that just seemed pretty solid. Like, it covered all the checkpoints you really want on a decent team. Like, I feel like Gligar, Gardevoir, and Empoleon, they're all, like Gligar and Empoleon, for instance, is, like, a really annoying defensive core that I think people will definitely struggle with. Along with Delmise being pretty well supported by Drapion. Like, I feel like they all kind of cover each other, and there's a lot of, like, Ghost and Psychic breakers for the Passimian as a really nice win con, or potentially, like, a lot of good mons that can beat Steel types, like the Gligar, or Magneton to trap Steel types for the Gardevoir. Like, it seems like a very good offensively built team around using his defensive pivots in Gligar and Empoleon to really kind of just come in. Licky Licky is just a fat mon that can sponge a lot of hits, and I feel like there's a lot of good offense. Like, I don't get the Floatzel pick. Like, I get you on speed tiers, but I still think Floatzel is not the best in low tier. It doesn't have Surging Strikes. This isn't Radical Red. Simisear's actually not that bad. I'm not gonna lie. The thing hits pretty hard with Fire Blast. Yeah, I just really liked a lot of the offensive momentum this team really possessed.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think 13th was a little too low. I didn't.
I think 15th was way too low.
Yeah, I didn't.
Of DX.
I didn't necessarily. I didn't really know because, like, kind of like what you said, the top 3 teams were top 3 for a reason, and then below that it's kind of hard to rank them. So, because they're all kind of either very low or like middle of the road. A lot of them were middle of the road, so it was pretty hard. But all in all,
I actually kind of like this team. I like this team a lot.
Yeah, I can see why. I think
not like that, though.
I think the reason I didn't like it was the lack of what was it? The lack of rockers. Like, you have Gligar and Empoleon, which work out really well, but Empoleon usually will want to run Defog on the team because you have what, Delmise for your App Spinner, and then that's it. So you'd probably want to be running one or the other, which means you have to run. You're gonna be running at least 2 out of these 3 every single game, and if you're running Delmise and Gligar, you're gonna be super weak to Ice, and if you're running Empoleon, Gligar, all 3, a lot. I think this team is pretty weak to stuff like. I mean, I'm gonna say it's Freeze Dry, obviously, but Magneton is there, I guess. I don't know.
I think Licky Licky can sponge pretty much any Freeze Dry. Like, I feel like those points are kind of fair, but I feel like Gligar and Empoleon, one of them wants to run rocks every week, and I think they're both reliable enough to pretty much. Like, I think Gligar more of the time would be the rocker, just I feel like Empoleon a lot of times wants like knockoff, it wants Scald, it wants Ice Beam, it wants Toxic, and Gligar can usually just run like Rocks U-turn, can just Earthquake Roost and some shit like that. And then Empoleon can defog if you don't want Delmise to, because I feel like Delmise will be rapid spinning a lot, so you could usually just alternate between the two, and they synergize so well defensively together. I don't know. I think like I don't think it's that freeze dry weak. I feel like Gardevoir can also take freeze dries pretty well. Like that is a good point to note is it is decently more definitely more specially defensively. Like Gligar is good physically defensively, but like that's your only real mon that can take hits like that. But I don't know. I thought majority of this team was definitely fine. I feel like the issues really were that I think Floatzel was a not needed pick. You should have gone something different for Floatzel. And yeah, maybe a little bit better physical bulk because it's definitely more specially bulky in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I don't really remember what my point was to put him 13th, but they could have been a little higher. Even so, they're ranked 12th. They could have been maybe 11th or 10th or something. But
Yeah, it's got like, and I feel like Toxic Spikes and Drapion looks pretty solid on this team. Gets rocks up, and then you can just force Defog, get Passimian in, get your Defiant
sure.
up. Because I feel like this team supports Passimian so well as a nice win con. Like I feel like that thing is gonna be a lot of the time it's gonna be scarfed, and it's gonna be a menace in the late game.
Yeah, I guess that is true. Um, All right. Let's move on to the next one here. We got the 11th place, which was the Manila Corviknights. So
Denny, your ranking doesn't count.
Denny's ranking apparently does not count. Wow, you put them 16th. Why exactly did you put them 16th?
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I even looked at this at like the synergy or shit. I just saw like fucking Executor, Ursaring. I'm sorry, Rue. Torkoal, fucking Garbodor, and I was like, no, what is this? This isn't a team. Why are you drafting only bad Pokemon? Like I get low tier, you want to get low value, but like, why are you picking round 1 Vikavolt? Why are you picking round 5 Executor?
What are you talking
It's an
about?
Executor.
That's a good Pokemon, man.
Like this team is only saved by the fact that they got like almost last round Cloyster. Otherwise, this team would just be complete and utter uselessness. Like Persian Alola is the other thing keeping this team intact. Like, cause it can be a nice pivot into like not Executor. That's not a Pokemon. The setup sweepers like Rhyperior can sometimes set up sweep, and Cloyster, but like Rhyperior is just not gonna be able to set up sweep that much because it's gonna want to be the rocker most of the time because it's a fucking Torkoal. Like it doesn't have drought. Like it's not good. You picked it round 4. Like you know you don't have there's no weather allowed, right? Like Jellicent's okay. Ursaring's not good. Granbull's meh. Oh, boy, it's I don't know. This team doesn't even Web's kind of value it with Gallade and shit. Yeah, that it's just bad Pokemon on a team. Just please no. Okay, you go.
Okay. I actually like the team a little bit more. Well, a little bit more than you. Alolan Persian, like you said, is awesome. Gallade is pretty good value for 10 points. Cloyster was a great pickup, especially how late it went. Jellicent is great. Granbull is a pretty underrated fairy type. Vikavolt's good. Rhyperior is good. The only thing
I'd say Granbull's underrated in standard. I don't think it's that good in low tier. In standard, there's so many super strong fightings like Medicham and Urshifu that you can use it to nichely check. But like in low tier, there's just not as many of them that you need Granbull for.
Well, in low tier, what's nice is that you can run we'll talk about it. I guess on pick'ems, but what was it? Either Excadrill or Drilbur picked it up, one of the divisions, and they used it as a Spadef slash HP wall, and then used it for like a bulk up set with like Play Rough and Earthquake and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's like a standard LC send like Snubble. It would run bulk up a lot, but
yeah, I don't know.
It can do like bulk up shenanigans. I don't know. I'm not a Granbull fan.
It's pretty nice in low tier. I'm kind of getting used to it. I always forget it's a fairy type, but the thing that bothered me, I think the most, was the speed tiers. You go from 115 to base 80, and then it's there you
bad.
go.
Like usually when you have like a speed tier gap like that, like if you have like hold on, let me look at this real quick. Usually when you have something like that, like you at least want another thing above base 100 so you can facilitate like the speed gap.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's only Alolan Persian, and Persian usually has to run speed. Like it's gonna have to run speed on this team especially because it needs to be that nice fast pivot into Mons. But yeah, you definitely don't want speed tiers that low. And like people are like, I got webs. Okay, you have webs, but like there's something called hazard removal, and there's also something called heavy booty doots.
Oh no, not heavy booty dudes.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, you go again.
Yeah, I think the way to kind of fix up this team, I mean, even though I kind of like Ursaring, like I have a soft spot for Ursaring, its speed tier is the same as Executor, and I guess if you want to keep Executor,
You're not bringing Executor. Don't bring Executor. It's not a good Pokemon. Get
you
like
could
fucking
drop
Calyrex instead of it.
you could drop like Ursaring for either a base 100 or base 95 or something to kind of
Like
fix your speed
Regigigas or
tiers.
some shit. Regigigas is broken.
Yeah, that's definitely not a bad choice if it's still there. I'm not sure if it's still there. But yeah, I think this team
Bad.
is okay. I put it middle
No.
of the road. You don't like them, obviously, so
Yeah, but prove me wrong, Carl SHT. I'm sure you'll do like win. You'll go undefeated. It always happens. I always say your team sucks, and then you like win the league or some shit. Like you go for it. I'm sure you'll have a great season. Just your team's bad.
yeah.
Look how
Well, we'll
ghost
see.
weak this shit is. You're switching to fucking Ursaring. Oh god.
That's a perfect ghost resist. Come on, ghost
Yeah,
immunity.
you're relying on like a Persian is so heavily like forced into like I get like having checks, but like you need at least 2 checks to like a certain like spammable type. Like because Persians just it can't maintain the entire time. Like there's no recovery on this team at all unless you want to run like fucking rest talk Persian, which doesn't seem that good. But usually you're gonna want knockoff, you're gonna want parting shot. A lot of times you're gonna want foul play, and you're gonna want to run like taunt and shit. Like for Persian. So I don't know. That's just my opinion though.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one here. We have the Toronto Typhlosions. Okay, we're also
Another
kind of.
shitter team.
All right, look. The main reason I put them pretty high was
It's
because
because it's colorful.
yes, because it's very colorful. Okay, like look at these colors. No, but honestly, I can see where it shouldn't be second now that I'm looking at it again. Um, it's pretty damn knockoff week. It's pretty
Yeah, this is so knockoff week. Holy, nothing wants to
yeah.
take a knockoff. Like Umbreon doesn't even like losing against lefties.
Yeah. Its speed tiers are meh because like Regigigas doesn't technically have base 100 until a few turns,
Yeah,
and then you have
they're pretty bad.
Oricorio, and it's like Oricorio's meh, and then yeah, this is a lot of Pokemon that kind of feel meh, but I kind of like the idea behind it, where like you have sort of this pocket sun with like Rapidash, Venusaur, and then like stuff to set it up. I guess like
Klefki.
yeah, I guess Clefty, which is kind of weird, but and then Tyrantrum's super strong. Lanterns are really good.
You think
Low T-Mon.
Tyrantrum's good? Funny.
All right, listen, I'm really unlucky with it, but I still think it's pretty good in low tier.
It's still
Piloswine is super good. Like a lot of these Pokemon are really good value, so that's why I think I put them second. Like,
yeah, it's another one of those teams that like a lot of the mons I think majority of these mons can come to a game. It's just like there's nothing. It's just nothing that too stand out. Like Tyrantrum's okay, but it's another one of those like this team is like so reliant on setup to like actually get going somewhere. Like, oh, then it's just gonna rely on Tyrantrum having to hit all its head smashes because like Rapidash isn't strong without a Swords Dance up. Orbeetle can't do anything without any setup. Venusaur usually can't do shit without setup. Cofagrigus can't do shit without setup if it wants to be like offensive. Like a lot of these, it looks very reliant on getting something set up going, and I feel like a lot of these mons are just pretty mediocre in terms of getting setup going. Like there's not like one of those like big strong setup sweepers besides maybe Dragon Dance Tyrantrum, but unfortunately there's no like regular win con on this team besides a Scarf Tyrantrum, because the speed tiers, as said, are not that good. And Rapidash is a pretty bad Scarfer because it's gonna die to rocks plus Flare Blitz.
yeah,
So that's the issue. That's what my issue with the team. Like I feel like the offensive, like the way it just can't offensively win any games. It's gonna really have to rely on like hazard stack plus like slowly setting up, installing on. If people know how to build or play around that, it's actually extremely easy to counter that type of stuff.
I guess
Like
that's fair.
I feel like also in general, like it's like a very like rounded out team, but I feel like it's like you're gonna want to bring like 8 mons, 10 mons to a game because you're gonna need multiple checks to multiple things with all your mons. Because you will have like I don't know. It's definitely a team that I dislike for a lot.
I think your points are
Piloswine's gonna have to come to every game for rocks, which is a good rocker, but
yeah. I don't know. I could see why you put them 13th. I would probably put them a little bit lower now that I'm looking at it, but I still think it does have some good merit to it. Like it has pretty good rockers. I will
It's got
Pilot's
one.
fine. Pilot's fine, I guess, but Tyrantrum could run rocks, you know?
Tyrantrum can't run rocks. It's like the only win con on this team.
Okay, well, um,
And even if you are running rocks, you're never gonna want to click it with it. Like it can
yeah.
run rocks, but like you're never gonna want to click it because it's your main offensive pressure. Because there's not enough offensive pressure otherwise on this team.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see the problems now, but yeah, they're
Like,
still middle
I
of the
get
road here.
I get relying on defense. Like defense is really good, but like especially in the meta that we're currently in, this meta is so offensively based. Like especially the standard meta, it's so offensively based. And I think low tier you want the big offensive mons over the big bulk mons. Like that's why mons like Heracross and PZ are like so high valued in low tier because they're so strong offensively that like there's not as many switch-ins. So when you go on full defense, like you're just not going to be able to win any offensive wars. And if people have two offensive teams, you're just not going to be able to counter it. Which is what I feel like for this team. Like it's relying on one offensive mon to carry the entire heavy load.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right, let's
that's
go
all
on
I'm
the
gonna
next
say.
one. The next one is the ninth place team, which is Quang's Win Squad 4. I don't know what happened to the last three of them, but
I must have
um,
called one.
this team is very very gimmicky. Speaking about gimmicks,
Ah, fuck gimmicks.
Trick Room plus Electric Terrain
This is
is
another one of those teams that relies on gimmicks to actually get somewhere so like have a win con to get going. Like Raichu relies on the gimmick. Like Trick Room is another gimmick on this team. Like the thing about to point out about this team is like it's got a lot of really good mons. Like it's super Ghost and Dark Week, like for one, like and it's super knockoff week in general. Like there's nothing that really wants to be coming in and taking knockoffs on this team. Like, but
yeah.
it's really Ghost and Dark Week, like because Moltres Galar is your only real thing that can take Ghost and Dark moves, and Moltres Galar is decent. A lot of times you do want to run setup on it, so you don't want it to be like your main like switch into Ghost and Dark. Marowak's in the Marowak Slowking Core is obviously really good. Deontay is very good. Hitmonlee gimmick. There's a lot of gimmicks. If you guys know me, I don't like my gimmicks, but there's just too many gimmicks. Like as I said, when you're building a team in low tier, even standard, you don't want your whole team to be based around a gimmick unless you're going like hard rain. But
Mhm.
even if you're going hard rain, you don't want to go like full rain. You want to maybe have like maybe you get like a Zapdos, a Pert, and a Pelipper, a Ferrothorn, and then you have a bunch of regular mons, something like that. Like this is so many gimmicks that like they just collide. It doesn't work. Like it looks so scary to prep for, like when you're prepping, but when you're trying to build with it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, this team, I do like. Obviously, I've used Pincurchin, Alolan Raichu, and
The
Slowking
remover
on my
card
last
is bad.
team, and they're super nice to have. Alolan Raichu really doesn't have too many
Yeah,
switch-ins in low
Alolan
tier.
Raichu is really strong in low tier.
Yeah, and then Alolan, or sorry, Galarian Moltres is also super good in low tier, and I personally really like Alolan, Marowak, and I don't know. I can see where they were going with this team, but I think, like you said, there's a little too many gimmicks. Like you didn't need a bunch. I think it just sticking with Pincurchin, Raichu, and then like that's it, and then keep going with like Galarian Moltres, and if you wanted Dancy, sure, Slowking, sure, but you didn't need to full force go like, okay, I want Trick Room and Electric Terrain, because that,
Yeah,
I
you need
mean,
to get the Hitmonlee for like Electric Train as well. Like you didn't need to get like a bunch of other Trick Room mons.
yeah, I don't
Like
know.
I don't think it's gonna work in prep.
Yeah, I think you said super knockoff week. Diancie is a knockoff switch in, but that's about
Nah,
it.
it doesn't like use leftover. It doesn't like to lose its leftovers usually. If
Eh,
it is bulk.
it's probably the best switch
It's
in
the best
here.
knockoff switch in, yeah, but it's not like the best because it doesn't want to lose lefties because it doesn't have the best recovery if you're not running like Combine Draining Kiss.
Yeah. Um, I put it in the middle of the road, and that's where it ended up. So, and you also did as well, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it definitely could be better. I don't know what some of these Pokemon do. Like you have Golbat, but you could have a
Go
grounded
back to like
poison.
another remover, I think.
I mean, even like I don't know, like Skuntank for instance would have been better because it's a grounded poison, and be a defogger as well. So that could have helped out. It also would help out with your Slowking a little Marowak with being Ghost and Dark resist another one with your Moltres. But yeah, I think some of these mons are kind of too much. Like Hitmonlee is fine, I guess, but you're usually going to be switching into Raichu if you're going into something that is abusing terrain anyways. Um, I personally would have liked, I don't know, Sceptile if anything, because Sceptile is just a better Unburdened Mon, I think, in low tier, because it doesn't have, like, it has a lot of moves in its move pool that it could abuse with, but Tangela is definitely a good grass type here.
Yeah, I think
It
Tango's pretty nice for like taking on earthquakes for the team.
it's
I guess you can
just
play it all, but
it's weak to knockoff. That's the only thing.
yeah, it's just knockoff week. It's good. Doesn't want to lose that EV light.
Yeah, but yeah, all in
Yeah, that's
all,
a lot
I think
to
it's
get
a
that.
strong team.
I
You
don't.
you just you could just you could probably fix up a few things, but it is the Drilbur division, so I think you can just get away with this honestly. Um, but yeah, we'll just have to see here. So
Mhm.
moving into the 8th place spot, we have Jake Mix's team, the new
This one was
Seattle
split.
Seals. What did you say?
This one was really split.
Oh, damn, yeah. Okay, so me and Dinny are on the opposite side. Um, I guess I could start here. So personally, I didn't really like um the what was it? The I think the offensive mons. Like I mean, Heracross is great, but other than that, there's not a lot of offensive pressure. Like you got Delphox again. I mean, sure, but that's about it for offense. A lot of these Pokemon are really defensive, and if you either don't bring both of them or one of them or both of them like die, you don't win. Like you can't really win without them. Which
Um, that's like kind of a fair point. I think the thing to note about this team is just like, sure, there's not a lot of offense, but like the offensive synergy between Rotom Frost, Delphox, and Heracross is actually fucking nuts. Like, Rotom Frost pivots most of the time on Steel types, and you got Delphox and Heracross to abuse all Steel types. And then you got Alolan Muck, which also pairs really nicely with Heracross. Breaks Ghost types. I don't know. I feel like Alolan Muck is a pretty underrated offensive mon. Like, it's really good with Curse as well in low tier. Like, it's really good, like Curse Rest Talk, Curse Chest Resto Chesto. Is very good on it. There is a lot of bulk. It does have suffer from a little bit of passiveness with like the Aloe, Registeel, Appleton, Palisand ship. A lot of these walls are pretty unkillable in low tier, which is why I like a lot of it. Like it's definitely weak to sub. It's another one of the teams that I think is definitely weak to sub. But I think Rotom Frost definitely eliminates the super weakness to sub. The pivot's also not great. I don't like Pidgeot at all. I don't know why you picked it.
yeah,
It's really just Komala and Rotom Frost. But I feel like realistically it just pivots into each other so nicely for like the for what is meant to be offensive. I feel like they pivot into each other just so well. In well enough that the bulk can be played as the win con in certain points. Because if your breakers can break enough for your bulk, like they can't break your bulk anymore. So I feel like
that's yeah.
I feel like I like the team a lot. I feel like it was pretty well built. I feel like Appleton was also pretty underpriced. Appleton's really strong in low tier. Not a lot of things can kill it.
That's fair. The only thing I mean is it is pretty weak to like a toxic, and it doesn't have toxic itself, so it's kind of
Yeah, there's no cleric. That's actually pretty annoying. But he's good. He's a good toxic switch in Alolan Buck and Kamala and Registeel. It
yeah.
is definitely weak to toxic. Like the whole team is weak to toxic, like in general. But I feel like there's enough to beat Appleton usually can't beat the steel types, and Aloe can't break like Aloe can't beat a lot of poison types, but like Palisand can beat both of those. Same with Alolan Muck, and for most of the time beat most of those. I feel like the walls synergize like better than like the majors team had like this full stall. I feel like the walls have enough offensive pressure in their own to cover for each other. Mainly because of the Alolan Muck. If Alolan Muck wasn't there, this team would be bad in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I would 100% agree with that because Alolan Muck. The only thing is like it has a lot of pressure to
Yeah,
be
but Alolan
like
Muck can take that pressure because it has good. You have Wish Pass from Aloe.
yeah
And it's one of those mons that can take the pressure because it's usually relying as a specially defensive wall and it has rest and shit and its black sludge can recover it slowly. I think it's not a mon that gets too heavily pressured to where like with the walls that you can pivot into, I don't think it's that and too pressured. Like that's my thing. Is there any other reason you had it as low as you did?
no. I think the main reason was it's pretty passive. Besides the three mons that you named, and I personally really don't like passive teams because of like you said substitute and just setup. There's a lot of good setup in low tier, so
Yeah, I
if
think
you
setups. I think this team doesn't have good outs to set up. That's definitely something to note.
yeah, and it's if you're
No real viable Scarfers besides like Rotom Frost, which doesn't have the best speed tier.
yeah, and Heracross, but like the only thing, yeah, I just if your defensive mons are as passive as stuff like Reggie Steel and stuff like that, it kind of is not good. Like a lot of your team, for instance, is pretty weak to stuff like what was it? I think I
I
wrote
think it's
it
pretty weak to
was
fighting types. Like a strong fighting type with like knockoff.
oh it's weak right. It was weak to like Leech Seed mons. A lot of these Pokemon just don't want to take on Leech Seed because they're either super bulky and they're losing a ton of health at once.
Yeah.
Or they want to get toxic. So like if you switch into Appleton on a Leech Seed, well, then it's toxic. So it's kind of annoying in that sense where like you
I think
kind
it's
of
gonna take like a really bulky mon to really annoy this team, but like most things can check Heracross plus Delphox. I think Delphox is very underrated. The speed tiers are also pretty bad on this team.
yeah,
You know.
that too. Yeah.
Like it's really slow after like Delphox, and I guess Pidgeot if you want to count that.
Yeah.
Forced into basically running Scarf Heracross or Scarf Rotom Frost, which isn't the best.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering your removers aren't the best. Removal's not. You don't really removal too much on this team. Although Spikes. Is pretty good.
Yeah, Spikes is hard for this team.
Yeah, I think Spikes would be annoying. Yeah, that it's definitely not a perfect team, but I think I don't know if I could merit a 15th ranking for this team when you have someone drafting an Executor.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I think this team is stronger than 15th. Again, guys, these are just like either our first thoughts to your team and also these are just our opinions. So literally, like if you think your team is the greatest and you play it like it is, then so be it. Like don't take our rankings to heart, okay, guys, please.
I'll take my rankings to heart.
Okay, take Burger's rankings to heart. All right, let's go on to this next one, which is 7th place, the Endless Rain, aka Limuro's team. So,
Please get a logo. All right, I've been rambling for a while, so I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
We should try to shorten this down so you can talk a bit more.
got you. All right, so I kind of like this team. This team has a decent amount of setup mons, like Feraligatr, Barbaracle, even Hitmontop can definitely set up. Hell, Steelix has Dragon Dance. It's probably don't run that, but yeah, like Swords Dance, Talonflame. A lot of these Pokemon can run setup, but they're also pretty defensive as well. Talonflame can be defensive. You know, Weezing is super defensive. Steelix is nice, but I think the problem that I had with this team is that it's not very colorful. No, honestly, it's probably what I did. I probably just looked through these teams and looked at that. No, but I don't understand. Wait, what was this? Second pick. Yeah, okay. What did you pick second? I'm actually.
Maybe
Was it
Shaman?
Shaman? Okay.
I think Shaman.
That. I mean. I don't
not
know.
the best, but like.
No, especially for a second pick, there's so many other mons that you could have grabbed. Heracross
Yeah, but they got
included.
Talonflame third and shit. Like, I don't think Heracross was there when they got to them.
Wait,
They got a.
this
they
is
got
second
them,
pick.
Huh?
This is second pick. I'm saying like when they first picked. This is.
Oh, their first pick. Their first pick was for Alligator.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Yeah. That's fair then.
Their second pick in the draft was Shaman.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know. I just think that what was the problem?
Yeah,
that
I'm really
found?
curious. Like, I guess it doesn't have a fairy type, but like, I was pretty
Yeah.
curious what you guys didn't like about this team.
Yeah, let me actually figure that out. Do you mind talking for a little bit? Let me just.
Yeah, I can talk for a bit. Like, I feel like I'm a big fan of Talonflame in a format. I'm a big fan of Alligator. I'm a big fan of a lot of these mons. Like, I feel like this team cleans very well. Like, I feel like this team is built really well around like Talonflame and Alligator particularly because like Steelix can break a lot of like it can break a lot of the steel types. It can break a lot of fairy types, which helps out the Shaman and helps out the Talonflame a lot. Heliolisk can break down pretty much. Heliolisk plus Shaman beats pretty much every water type for Talonflame. And Trapinch, like although Trapinch looks pretty bad, Trapinch can trap like super annoying like steel types for Steelix or not for Barbacle. And like super annoying like steel types for the Shaman because some steel type Shaman just can't break if Earth Power doesn't cover it. And it can also trap rock types for Talonflame. So it actually has some good merit. I feel like Talonflame looks just so strong on this team. Like Alligator's so good as well. Like people have to over prep their bulky waters, but then you have like really good water switch-ins with Heliolisk and Shaman. It seems like a very good team, and then you have pretty annoying walls. Like Steelix and Weezing are actually quite annoying, especially defensively together. Like
Hmm.
I don't know what hits that super effectively. Like if it's Levitate, ground type can't hit it. Steelix resists Psychic. Like it seems like a very annoying defensive core
Yeah.
with some really fast and strong mons that can sweep you if you let them get out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually gonna mention the Wheezing Steelix thing. That was pretty good, but the things that I have a problem with were your removal is Talonflame with Defog and Hitmontop with Rapid Spin, which I feel like you could have having another
Yeah,
one.
I don't think this team's even that hazard weak though. I'm not
That's
exactly
fair.
sure what.
The other thing is you have two pivot mons being Heliolisk and Talonflame, and you kind of want to pivot around because if you want Feraligatr to set up on something, hard switching into it is kind of risky.
I think I'd counter that point. Like, I don't think necessarily this is like this team is that in need of pivot. Like, there's not really any good breakers on this team. Is something I think is the point. Like, for Alligator, usually just wants a free switch in general. So sometimes that has to involve with sacking them on.
Mm-hmm.
And the pivots you have to get in for Alligator are usually good enough to get for Alligator in, because what comes in on Heliolisk? Ground types. What comes in on Talonflame? Rock types. Like, I think for Alligator, those two alone should be enough pivot for Gator, because the other mons are just meant to support and get rid of things that do hinder Gator. Like, I don't think the pivots are as important for Gator. Like, I think sometimes you can just sack something to get Gator, and it's not as bad as you don't always need pivot for Gator.
All right.
From my experience.
The other thing would be this team is pretty weak to like really good fighting types, because if a fighting type has, let's say for instance, like rock coverage, which they usually do, Talonflame isn't a switch in.
Yeah, it's pretty relying on Weezing. Weezing is a good fighting switch.
Yeah, Weezing looks like has to come into every game.
Because there's no fairy, so.
Yeah, like if it has to come to every game, it's kind of risky because like you also are pretty weak to ground. Besides the Talonflame and the Weezing again.
No, you have a Shaman.
Well, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I think definitely being fighting week in low tier is kind of
I think realistically you should have dropped a Barbacle. I don't think Barbacle's really gaining you much. I feel like you should drop it for a fairy type.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That I think a fairy type. Wait, let me see. A fairy type would actually fit very well. Let me just see if there's any left.
I think I've looked down the board as well.
Barbarical, 12 points.
Or that's a really value mon. I feel like someone should have picked that up. So good and low tier.
Yeah, I guess there's not many.
Why was Mesprit undrafted?
Yo, Whimsicott? Hold on.
Not a good Pokemon. You should know from first hand using it. It's not good.
Yeah, it's really well in low tier. It's a little different. It's a little bit better.
You're on like specs or some shit. There's not many fairy types left, which is unfortunate. Maybe try to get a trade with something. I'm sure someone would want Barbacle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It can be a bit brain dead, but it's not the best, unfortunately.
Yeah. Especially on your team. I think it doesn't add anything.
Yeah, I don't think it adds enough to your team.
Yeah.
But I like that team a lot. I personally like this team a lot.
Yeah, I think it could be really good. Especially if I think the thing that would fit here is like an Aromatisse or a Florges, because Wish passing into something like Steelix and Weezing would be really good. So I think that would help.
I don't think you'd necessarily need Wish Pass on this team, but yeah.
I think Wish passing would definitely help. Plus,
would help, yeah.
Like Florges also fits because of like defog as well. Like Florges would be really good.
Bad, so.
All right, well.
Florges Helix is a good core though. I'll give it that.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to this next team, 6th place team, which is Mose's team, the Evil Corp. So, I put him wait. I put the last one 11th. Okay, I gotta check what I did. I think I did something wrong. I think I wrote it wrong by accident.
Oh my lord, Exostomp.
But maybe I put them 10th or something. I don't know. But, anyways, they're 6th place. I actually don't remember why I put them here. I don't think I put them 11th. So why don't you talk while I look at them?
All right. The issue with this team is it all loses to steel types. Like you go Flygon and Centiskorch, and that's like Quagsire is not that good, and it can't even break a lot of steel types if they have Toxic. And Tauros is like the only real breaker on this team as well. Like there's not good offense on this team outside of Tauros. Like Roserade, it's like Specs or Life Orb, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
P2 is good, but there's just nothing it really P2 can pivot into necessarily. Like P2 really wants to pivot. Like Tauros is it's redundant because it's another normal type. So P2, if they pivot into their fighting type, you're not going on to your Tauros. and you don't really have anything to really capitalize on like what P2 can pivot into offensively. Because as I said, the team's definitely very lacking offensively. It's got good bulk. It's got really good bulk. Like P2, Florges, Quagsire, like Escavalier. Like there's good bulk on this team.
Yeah, I think yeah, I put them actually 12th. The reason I put them 12th is the amount of I think it was the amount of like rockers. You just have Regirock, I believe that's it.
Yeah,
right?
only Regirock is Regirock is your only rocker's not good.
Yeah, because Regirock doesn't want to come to every.
It does not want to come to every game, not at all.
And yeah, the steel weakness also was pretty big as well. One thing that I would probably do for this team is like probably switch out Quagsire for another.
Yeah, I would definitely switch out Quagsire.
Yeah,
Quagsire is pretty bad.
Yeah, Quagsire is not good at all. Pretty much like
it's not terrible, but
yeah, it's not terrible. But the thing is, you want for your bulky water, you want something that, at least in my opinion, either isn't quad weak to something or has.
Like they cover the quad weakness pretty well, but
yeah,
I guess Scavalier, Roserade, and Scentiscorch, but
yeah, that's fair.
It definitely seems like a very annoying team to break. That's why it's like that's why it's in the top 8. Because there's a lot of like walls and they do synergize really well together, and there is decent offensive momentum with like Flygon because a lot of times it doesn't want to take on like water types, and you can get that into like Roserade. And Roserade doesn't do steel types, which Flygon beats. Like it's a pretty decent core as well as Roserade being fairy types. It's actually a pretty nice core. I like Flygon plus Roserade a lot. I'm definitely feeling that core. I think it's just a little bit too heavily reliant on Tauros being like the main breaker. His team, because Flygon's not a good breaker. Like it can offensively it can like leave like a pivot. It's also gonna be pretty bulky. Or it's something like Dragonance or Scarf that like needs something to really win. And yeah, it's another one of those teams I just don't see like the best win con for. Like, because like I guess you have to get a Dragonance up with Flygon maybe, but that's not the easiest. Because Tauros isn't like a good win con. It's usually only good. It's just breaking.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
Coil Scorch.
There's also not like, I mean,
there's also no Dark type. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
Like this team is super weak to Psychic, to like a strong Psychic.
Yeah, like even like spamming Future Sight. If they spam Future Sight, what do you do? Yeah, Sword Power is also really good, and there's a lot of pretty good Psychic types that can run that down here. So it's a big problem. I think switching out probably something for a Dark type, maybe that has rocks. I don't know if there is many that maybe like Krokorok, but
He's not even that bad.
Yeah, so like I think that could help.
There's nothing.
Yeah, there's not a lot, but yeah, I think having a Dark type and definitely look for another rocker because like I said, Regirock is not a good rock. I mean, it's a good rocker, but it's you want another one. Definitely want another one.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think it's the best rocker. I don't think you can bring it to many games.
No, it's
usually when you want it to be your rocker, you like lead off with it.
Right, and then it just dies. So
yeah, it's because it can't take special hits too well. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to this next one. We got 5th place. It's Denny's team, the Swansea Surge Surfers.
No, Denny's so bad. I'm joking. I love him.
Yo, he's got a great Pokemon in Sawk.
Yeah, I was gonna call that an issue on this team. Like, I was really curious why he got Sawk on this team.
Probably because he knew I would rank it high because of it.
Yeah, but there's already enough breakers. You got Regidrago, you got Typhlosion, you've got Arctozool. Like, there's definitely enough breakers on this team.
Yeah, but
to really go around.
Sawk is look.
You know what the real shit that went on in this team? Let me tell you, you Drilbur coaches, please let us not have round 5 Crobat be a thing. Like Crobat is it should be like real. It should have been 1 point higher in my opinion. It should have been 17. But the flying types are so strong, especially the really fast ones. Like people don't switch into this thing that well. Like it can usually just run offensive. Just Brave Bird spam, and you let it go to round 5, it should be going round 2 at latest.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the round 2 fucking Heracross. So fruity.
I would personally say for people, if you're not sure what to pick, because I know the Drilbur division was super slow compared to the Excadrill one, just look at what the Excadrill people are picking. Like
or just DM me, I'll answer you.
Or DM Burger, because Burger knows how to build teams. So Yeah, I think for this team having Seeking as your bulky water could be a problem, but I like
It's
Seeking.
because it's fuck. It's because it's fucking Denny. That's the only reason we
Yeah,
chose Seeking.
it's Dinny. I think.
Did he get this across your mind? Seeking is not good.
Whoa, 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 whoa! It could counter McGearno. Okay, if it's Lightning Rod, like how does it beat?
Yeah, Fleur Cannon.
AV Seeking. Let's go. No.
Oh yeah, I love doing 20%.
But I if you think Salk is a bad idea, I kind of disagree because Salk here. If we go back to the teams below this team, a lot of teams were either weak to fighting,
Yeah,
or for instance, the Wheezing team gets earthquaked. Like Wheezing dies, and then like Salk. Well, if it's choice banded Salk, it does a lot of damage. I don't think it dies, but it does a lot. No, I think it's 125 attack. I think it does a lot of damage.
Bad Pokemon.
God damn it. Anyway, so I really liked Denny's team. The main problem I think I had was it doesn't have a grass type, and with stuff like Zygarde 10% running around and a lot of these like good ground types, like even Golurk for instance, he doesn't have a switch into really like a Golurk or like a good ground type in general here.
Yeah, I think in general it's just a little bit too weak to common typings. Like it's very fire weak because you're relying on Typhlosion and fucking Seeking to take the hits for fire. It's very weak to common typings. Like this team is very weak to like look at like a fucking ghost type or dark type versus this team. Like Ambipom just can't switch into dark. Wigglytuff's not a Pokemon. Like knockoff just destroys this team in general. Like nothing really wants to lose its item. Or nor like take the hit in general. Like Donphan's okay, I guess, but I don't know. Donphan feels very pressured on the team, and Donphan's just I think Donphan's a mon that's not good under pressure. Unlike Alolan Muck, I think Donphan's very bad under pressure because it can't take the special hits well enough, and it just can't recover enough health back usually. And Wigglytuff's not a Pokemon, so it can't wish pass into it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that point. I really wish.
I'm not saying Donphan is bad. I'm saying it's not good under pressure, like with multiple mons, with being forced into multiple roles.
Yeah, I think Donphan is like I would say it's a better Sandslash, although Sandslash now has spikes. So, you know.
I'd pick Sandslash over Donphan. More value.
Yeah, I think now it has more value, but hopefully maybe like Gen 9, I don't think that'll be possible anyway, but it'll get Power Whip, you know, like that leaked.
No, it is Seed Bomb anyways.
Yeah, but Power Whip's more fun. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, usually you just run like Earthquake knockoff, Stealth Rocks Rapid Spin, or like Ice Shard Rapid Spin, something like that.
Yeah. Let's get rid of this team. This is Denny's team. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, right. Denny, I love you though. You're my favorite coach in this division.
Alright, let's go on to the 4th placed team. We have the Breaking Zolts, which is not Shady Kids team.
I'm surprised this was 4th. I didn't lie. This team wasn't that good.
Why don't you like it?
It's like okay, but like I don't know, bro. Like Aerodactyl's the only like actual like really fucking good mon. I've been in the lab recently and I've realized Breloom's not as good as people think in low tier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Terracross is just way better than it.
Yeah.
Like in every way, Breloom's like okay, but I don't think it's like as good as even Blaziken. I think a lot of the mons are definitely better than it, and I just feel like. It looks good, but like there's just fucking bad mons again, like Ninetales and shit. Like I don't get the Slurpuff at all. Slurpuff's just like not good unless it's under terrain. Like I don't know. Tentacle's not even that good in the format. It's really Edgequake weak. Because you're relying on Breloom to be your fucking check to that, and Breloom's just not. You want to use it offensively because it's gonna be really good offensively.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't think you want to use that as your ground switch in unless you're Poison Eel, which you can't be Poison Eel a lot of the time. I feel like a lot of times wants to run sub though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of
like. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, just personally, I think this team has a lot of value picks. I mentioned Golurk before. He does have the Breloom.
Tiggerlift is also really value, but I don't like it on this team that much.
Yeah, I guess. He has some.
Actually, wait, no, pairs pretty well with Breloom. It's actually, yeah, I remember. I like Tiggerlift, Breloom, Aerodactyl. That was the core I did like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is a pretty decent combo. Even just Aerodactyl Breloom is good. Any rock flying with Breloom is good, like Archeops. But
any rock flying is good.
Well, true. Togedemaru is also a super valuable pick. Tentacruel is definitely not bad either. Because it is the probably the premier hazard remover for this team, being like the other one's Aerodactyl and Sigilif, and they want to be offensive. So I guess that's
Yeah,
a
that's
decent
fair.
problem for it. But other than that, like Audino is a pretty good value pick. It was
Yeah,
7 points.
Aldino's good.
Yeah, like I think
Like, it
this
definitely
team.
helped out. This team is pretty Ghost Dark Week. Like it's one of those teams. I think Spirit Team's a wasted pick though. Get a different Dark type. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. It's one of those teams. It's like it's definitely it's. There's nothing like realistically like too flawed about it. It just doesn't feel like that good on paper with like putting some of these mons together. Like the offensive core is good, but I just think the defensive core is just a little bit lacking. I feel like a lot of the defensive cores are just like they're just not the best at walling anything. Like I feel like a lot of these mons defensively just are not the best at walling anything besides like Audino.
I can agree with that. Yeah, there's not a lot of good walls here.
And
Like
like Togedemaru, Tentacruel both just died to Earthquake and shit. Like
right. Yeah, Earthquake
a lot
is
of the defensive mons just
definitely.
die to EQ.
Mm-hmm.
And all the big like hitters that are immune to it are entirely weak to rock, as they said. So pretty
I
edge
mean,
quick weak.
let's be real though. A lot of teams in low tier are weak to Edgequake because like it's Edgequake. Like there's not much you can do to that.
Yeah, but usually if you have usually you can have a certain check. Like it's when you have a good ground type they can check it. I just don't think Golurk's gonna be the best check to it because I feel like a lot of time it's gonna want to be like I don't know. I feel like Golurk's gonna want to be the rocker most of the time anyway, so might be able to check it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the bad part about it because Golurk is super good offensively. I
I think
guess it,
as the rocker defensively.
it it kind of it kind of acts as like a Nidoking but physically in the sense that like it can threaten things out, but you can also set up rocks with it pretty reliably. So I guess it's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible rocker on this team. A lot of times you just run 3 attack rocks, maybe rock toxics, like whatever you want to do with them. Yeah, I can agree with it being kind of like a Nidoking but physical and low tier,
Yeah.
but it's definitely better speed tier.
Something like I think you could probably get a better dark type, like you said, with Spiritomb being something else, and Sliggoo is when are you bringing Sliggoo? I just feel like that's not a Pokemon.
It isn't. There's no rain team.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you could run Rain. You got Tentacruel, you know.
No.
All right, let's
It's,
move
it's,
on.
it's not an awful team, but I just don't like it for some reason.
Yeah, it's you said middle of the road, and I mean, I could kind of see why. I think it's a little bit better than middle, but I digress here. Uh, let's move on to the next team. We got the third place team, which is Azurine's team, or Azula, or Adrian, or I don't know. Which is the Miami Mikus.
The Ozrin that's on my Bob team. Hold on. No, it's not okay.
I really like this team. The combination of Vaporeon Mudsdale being able to wish pass into Mudsdale is super nice. I think the defensive core again super nice, but the offensive pressure with PZ and Pangoro and
Yeah, that Easy Pangoro is the standout core of this. Like, that's a
yeah,
fucking dirty ass core. Like, what switches into the combo of those? Pangoro beats Steel and Ghost types, the two things that can take on PZ and Rock types. Like, and they got Pangoro like last round. That was the I don't know why they didn't take it earlier. That's like the most. That's such a broken offensive core.
yeah,
Like, how?
yeah, and well
Yeah.
they were first pick. They did first pick obviously PZ.
Yeah, but they got Pangoro like last round.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was kind of weird.
That's whack as shit. Like, only thing I don't know, I feel like there's not there wasn't like when I remember I was like talking to this person, there was like there's nothing like it was I think it's definitely a good team. I don't think there's realistically anything too wrong about it besides like I feel like Ferris is just bad. Like I think you should have got a different steel type so you weren't like a different steel type that could set up better for you because I feel like Ferris it's a lot of these mons in general are just momentum drainers. Like these are walls that I feel like will momentum drain pretty
Mhm.
easily.
Yeah.
And then I think it's pretty weak, especially defensively. It's way more physically defensively. So I think if a big special breaker can come in, I think the team's definitely gonna be in a bad spot. As well as what else is there? Not really much else. It's a good team. I like the team.
Yeah, I kind of regret putting them eighth. I think they should definitely be. I probably would have put them like maybe like fifth or yeah, at least top five. I think it definitely deserves that. Um,
Yeah,
I
what
think
did you not like about it when you put eighth?
I think initially I was looking at like hazard removal, and Zatu's definitely
Who the
not bad
fuck
for
cares
that,
about
and like
hazard removal?
Galarian Wheezing, is definitely one of the most reliable ones in low tier. But I think that's what I didn't like, and then also I believe it was like what was it? I think it was like
My only thing is like about it being the walls are a bit momentum draining.
yeah,
A lot of them are a little bit passive. A lot of them are decently passive. Like they can't do a lot back.
yeah. I didn't really like Pharaoh Seed here. I don't know. I understand why it's here. I just don't really like it
Yeah,
here.
same.
Um, I don't know. I kind of regret putting them eighth. I should have looked at this team a little bit longer, but yeah, I think it's definitely good. The only thing, like I said, Pharaoh Seed, and then I kind of didn't like Lycanroc Midday. I mean, I just don't like it as a Pokemon, but
I don't like it as a Pokemon in standard. I think it's really good in low tier.
yeah, it probably is. I just haven't really used it.
You like Rock Dusk is absolutely broken in low tier. This thing is like just a weaker version of it.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, definitely. All right.
It still can set stealth rocks up and shit, and it can still just be really offensive with Swords Dancer like band.
Oh, I think that's what it was. Lycanroc is the like only thing above 100, and then everything just goes down. So if there's a base 100,
Yeah, which realistically, like, it's hard. It is hard to get good speed tiers. I think the speed tiers were definitely not that good on this team because there's not even a lot of priority to benefit outside of Lycanroc, but that's the speed tier anyways.
Right.
Yeah, definitely speed tiers can be worked on, and maybe just like some more like not as passive walls. Like they aren't the most passive walls, but they're walls that just lose you a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
Because they're slow.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of momentum to begin with. Like you got Vaporeon flip turn, you got like Xatu, and that's all that really wants to pivot. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But anyways, let's go on to the next team, which is the Daigo Diancies, which is Arcadian's team. So you put them first, I put them third. Didn't you put them ninth? I don't know why.
His rankings don't count, remember?
Apparently not. I don't know what he was thinking, but yeah, obviously this team is really good, and I would like to take a little bit of credit because I did help Arcadian make this team at least a little bit. So why do you like this team?
No, I wanted you to tell me what the flaws are.
So
I need to know what the flaws are. I'm stuck.
Oh, you're looking for flaws. I see you. All right. So,
I want to critique the team, but I like it too much.
I see. I got you.
Bro, fucking round 6 Meloetta or some shit. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Shit got like 6 kills in its first week.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that didn't really go. I kind of. What was it? I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I see no flaws.
Okay, yeah, there's not a lot of pivot. I know, I just love pivot. Okay, guys, I love pivot.
What the fuck do you mean? There's a Moltres, Meloetta, and a Swampert.
That's it. That's all there is.
That's good.
That's it.
That's like that's 3 of the 4 best mons on the team can pivot.
I guess that's fair.
And they all pivot reliably for each other. Meloetta can pivot out on Steel types into the Zygarde 10. Swampert can pivot out on Grass types into the Moltres, and then Moltres just pivots out on the Grass types and or not the Grass types, but the Water types back into like something like Swampert or Chestnut get up spikes. Like Armaldo's a bad Pokemon.
Yeah.
But, like gives them another rocker. It gives them another rocker. They already have 2 good rockers. It gives them another remover. And yeah, it's not bad. The only thing I'll say is it's flying weak. Maybe if you just got a pure rock instead of Armaldo. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I don't like Armaldo. I think Armaldo could have been anything else. I understand, like, you probably wanted another rock or another hazard remover, but it's not good. Like, I've used it, and it's not good at all, okay?
Yeah, it's not good, but it can do what it needs to do sometimes. It can usually get stealth rocks up.
Yeah, I think that was the main issue that I had. But the thing is, I definitely would have put them second instead of third. I just like the next team better, and so did everyone else besides Zooburger, but we'll get to that.
I still like this next team. Don't get that out of your head.
Yeah. I think we kind of switched places with this team and the next team with our rankings, obviously. But I understand why it's super good. The stuff like the Aromatisse, Wish Passing into the Swampert and the Copper is really nice to have. You have all the necessary typings. I love Skuntank in low tier. I think Skuntank being a dark type, being a grounded poison, being a hazard remover, I think Skuntank is great. Even having a really good speed tier, which a lot of people struggle around like base 80s, because a lot of Pokemon are either really slow or pretty fast around the 90s or 100s. So Skuntank definitely helps with that. And I don't know. I think this team is definitely one of the better teams on paper. We just need to see how they play, obviously. And Denny's doesn't matter. Denny's rank doesn't matter at all. Okay. Alright, the last team here is the Cape Cod Comfies, aka Chungus's team. So we all put them first except for you, and I want to know what you thought was bad.
Listen, I think everything's perfect about this team except for the one issue is that it just has too many common weaknesses. Like, and it's all relying on one Pokemon. Like, there's no Fairy Resist outside of the Fortress because Blaziken is part fighting and because Dragology is part poison. There's no Flying Resist outside of the Jolteon because once again Fortress is part bug. And there is the only ground check is Decidueye because because Fortress is part bug. I think Fortress is a hindrance to this team personally. Like, if you just got it for a different steel type, it would be. I think this team could probably be number one. But the Fortress allows for way too many common type weaknesses. So I think realistically, if anyone like finds like something like a strong ground type and can abuse with like it's like a banded ground type in general, like even like Denny's Donphan like fucking destroys this team. Like in general, like any of those like big things that like I'm saying right here, like a big fairy type, like I can even say like a fucking Granbull. Like I don't like Granbull, but like Play Rough plus Fire Punch literally kills this entire team. Like that's my issues. That's my only issues with this team. Like the common weakness, the weaknesses. Everything else about this team is good. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I can actually agree with that. Where something like Earthquake kind of.
Fortress is just not good as well. The Fortress is so bad.
I mean,
really,
it has its merit, you know.
And the only other thing is it's got like so much hazard stack and no defog, or only defog. Excuse me.
What do you mean?
It's got so much hazard stack, but it only is defog. There's no, you don't have a spinner.
Fortress.
Fortress can't run. Oh, you know it does get spin, doesn't it? But Fortress is bad.
Oh my god. Well, I don't know. I personally really obviously I like Chinchino. But I also like the core of Comfey plus Zoroark. Even just like on the ladder, Comfey plus Zoroark is so annoying to deal with, and it's so good. Plus you have the Blaziken that can really help out physically with those mons. You're able to like. Also, by the way, there's only one mon on this team that doesn't have Pivot, so I'm happy. Okay, I love Pivot, and it's a colorful team, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm putting this thing first. Its speed tiers are good. The only thing is the 80 to 100. I think, you know, that could hurt, but it really doesn't hurt that much because it's like Blaziken.
That's not a bad gap.
Yeah, it's not the worst gap in the world. And I don't know. I like Charger Bug. Charger Bug is actually surprisingly good in low tier. Like it's
Charger Bug's not terrible, but I would have rather done another Flying Resist instead of Charger Bug.
That's fair.
Because once again, the only Flying Resist is the Jolteon. And Jolteon's not the best Flying Resist, especially for like these big flying types, like Aerodactyl, like Talonflame, just really looks so strong for this team. That's the reason I couldn't put it at 1, just because the Fortress, the extra typings are hindering a lot of making a lot of common weaknesses, but between the team. Otherwise, this team would definitely be number 1.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yeah, no, Rock is the same thing. Like it's only got Seismitoad because of the bug typing on Fortress.
Yeah, so I think yeah, Seismitoad does have a lot of pressure on it as well, being like the only rocker besides Fortress. I think that's another thing. It just has so much pressure. What's up?
Seismitoad's a good rocker.
Oh yeah, it is a good rocker, but it also has to be like a flying switch in as well. It also has to be like an Earthquake switch in.
Realistically, the best flying switch ins are going to be like. If it's a special flying, it's going to be Jolteon. If it's a physical flying, it's going to be like Seismitoad. Or Fortress, like that. I don't know.
Yeah, like Fortress has to be
they're not going to be reliable at doing it.
Yeah.
Especially Fortress, because there's not a lot of good recovery on things like Seismitoad, Dragology, Fortress. I think that's why I didn't put it number 1, or even number 2 for that matter, because it's too many common weaknesses compared to the other 2 teams, but otherwise it's a good team.
Yeah, really good speed tiers as well.
Yeah, speed tiers are really good.
But yeah, that's about it. I also really like the mascot pick. Honestly, I think that was also plus points. You know, you got a mascot pick in there.
He did figure round 1 as well, so.
Yeah, and you're able to get Blaziken as well.
And he got fucking fruity ass round 2 Blaziken. Come on, people.
Yeah, that's super good. Blaziken Seismitoad, I think is a really nice combination as well.
Seismitoad's good like any Pokemon.
That's true. Yeah, but yeah, that's it for obviously the Drilbur post power rankings. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Obviously, our opinions are our opinions.
Probably wrong.
Yeah, they're probably wrong, but yeah, let us know in the comments. I will be rendering this as fast as possible so I can get it done by today, because I promised you guys. So yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Peace.